Welcome to the Stek vs 20 years of Sonic the Hedgehog. That's right, I've actually moved on from the Mega Drive now, and now we're going on to the Dreamcast games with Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, beginning today with Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure sees a radical shift in the design and feel of a Sonic game. Shifting from 2 to 3D, the gameplay changed significantly, and Sonic was slightly redesigned. Now, sporting a slightly longer and more arched spines, with green eyes instead of the full black pupils. The game uses hub zones to connect the player to stages. The hub zones themselves are not entirely redundant. They actually have some small plot development, platforming, and some puzzle solving. Unlike prior Sonic games, playing as a character besides Sonic is not optional to experience the full game. Each of several characters has their own story and gameplay. Sonic fights a losing battle to retrieve all the Chaos Emeralds before Dr. Robotnik can feed them to his new ally, Chaos. Sonic's levels are fast-paced action levels, much like the 2D games, but play a bit differently due to the new 3D design. To unlock other stories, you must meet the other character during Sonic's story. Sonic has the most levels of all. Tails, after being rescued from a crashed prototype plane, Tails follows Sonic on his journey, and his levels consist of racing with Sonic down shortened versions of Sonic's stages. After the Master Emerald has shattered, releasing Chaos and Tickle from within, Knuckles must set out to reassemble the Master Emerald and to restore it to the fallen Angel Island. Knuckles' stages are treasure hunts for shards of the Master Emerald, climbing walls and gliding to find them in the most unlikely of places. Amy finds and helps a Flicky who has fallen from the sky, carrying a Chaos Emerald around its neck, and must avoid the Badnik Zero who is chasing it. Mostly, Amy's levels involve running away from Zero, and some puzzle solving. Big the cat's best friend Froggy, who is a non-anthropomorphized frog, Froggy eats Big's Lucky Charm, the Chaos Emerald, and begins to mutate, then runs off. Big's levels involve fishing to find Froggy, in various locations. E-102 Gamma is one of Robotnik's E-Series robots. After bumping into Amy, he malfunctions and decides to destroy his brethren to free the animals trapped inside. In the Dreamcast version, these are all Flickies. Players race against the clock to complete stages, shooting badniks and gaining extra time for chain kills. After completing all stages with every character, the story ends with a supersonic stage that I will not describe due to spoiler reasons. Robotnik makes his usual appearance as the main villain of the game, this time aided by the entity Chaos, who grows stronger as he absorbs more Chaos Emeralds. Tickle the Echidna, also released from the Master Emerald with Chaos, a keeper of the Master Emerald previously, sealed her and Chaos inside last time he ran amok. In the Chow Garden, the player can care for a Chow and enter it into minigames. Also, this is accessed from the hub world. For the time, the graphics were good and the soundtrack really stood out. The one fatal flaw of the game is the lip sync between the animation and the English language version. Unfortunately, the animation is still for the Japanese language and it can look silly. There is a DX version of the game which fixes glitches and the lip sync. It has better graphics and some minor changes to the game itself. Well, I'm sure you're sick of listening to me talking about Sonic Adventure by now. So, instead, let's go play some Sonic Adventure. And here it is, the Emerald Coast. Stage 1 of Sonic Adventure. Well, hopefully you'll see with this that I am going to begin with the negatives. And the negatives really, they don't destroy this game. You know, they damage it a little bit, but it's unfortunate that, as with most games of this time period, making that transition from 2D to 3D generally was a bit sketchy, really. There's nothing really to be said about it. It was a time period where things were just a little bit off. And hopefully, you know, you'll see with this game that it is unfortunate that the actual camera angles, really, can affect and in some cases can harm the gameplay. But that in its essence, Sonic Adventure is a good game. And the reason I say it's a good game is mainly because of the story. You know, we came out of the old 16-bit Sonic games, and then obviously we had Sega CD, and Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles and Sega CD really started to push what was capable of storytelling in a Sonic game, and this big overarching narrative of Sonic constantly trying to get Robotnik. And you know, this is kind of one of those games that really, it can be classed as an antithesis of this whole concept. And you know, it's the point where really gameplay started to get to the point where it was capable of telling stories. I mean, you know, we have some lip sync in this game that is unfortunately flawed, but it's lip sync nonetheless. It's a lot more than we've had before. You know, the best we got before was Knuckles standing there and chuckling, and now we have, you know, fully lip synced, fully realised cutscenes in a Sonic the Hedgehog game. You know, you wouldn't have thought it when they first started the series, and frankly, I think that this really helps the series, to be honest. And Sonic Adventure did have this big overarching narrative story, and you know, it's really enjoyable to watch that story unfold, and it really makes you care more about those characters and the characterizations. Well, I suppose, you know, it's worth noting definitely that this game, it's well, you know, it's got good graphics. It had good graphics at the time. It still looks quite good today in some respects, but it is unfortunate that my capture footage isn't perfect, so this isn't perfect quality, unfortunately. Well, what you're going to see right now is an example of how the camera angle can go a bit wrong. You see I fell down there, and the camera kind of disappears and goes all floaty and stuff. It really can't kind of keep up with Sonic, and then I run up the wall. Well, you know, it's an example of exactly what can happen with that unfortunate camera. And you know, just take a look at that nice vista background that I'm just panning around there. Well, you know, it really shows you what they actually put into this game. And I've always said with the Sonic games, it's those extra touches that they put in that really make the games good. And this game is definitely full of special touches, and one such touch is that you'll have seen hopefully the monkeys and those monkey robots that are actually from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I mean, you know, it's just one of those things where they've got that big callback, and they talk about things that happened. Obviously, in part of this overarching narrative is that the Master Emerald it's been shattered because Tikal and Chaos came out of it, and well, you know, it's the whole mingling in of all the storylines, and you know, that kind of seamless arch into the accepted human world, really. And hopefully, you know, this has been a good look at the game, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about the game, and I shall say, I'm TheStek. See you around.